What if everything you've been told about building wealth is a lie? What if the traditional path of going to school, getting a good job, saving for 40 years, and retiring at 65 is actually a financial prison disguised as security? What if there's a completely different road to wealth that most people never discover because they're too busy following the herd off a cliff? Here's the uncomfortable truth. While you're trading time for money at a job, missing your kids' childhoods, and hoping your 401k doesn't crash, there are people becoming millionaires in their 20s and 30s. Not through luck, not through inheritance, through a completely different system that operates on different rules. They're not on the sidewalk begging for spare change. They're not stuck in the slow lane, grinding for decades, hoping to retire comfortable. They're in the fast lane, building wealth at speeds that seem impossible to everyone else. Today, we're exposing the 3 financial roadmaps people follow and why 2 of them guarantee you'll never be wealthy. Whether you're stuck in a cubicle, struggling with a business, or just exhausted from working hard with nothing to show for it, what you're about to learn will either disturb you or liberate you. Probably both. MJ DeMarco didn't write the Millionaire Fastlane from an ivory tower. He wrote it from experience, having gone from broke and living in his mother's basement to becoming a multi-millionaire in his early 30s by building and selling a company. But this isn't another rags to riches story you've heard a million times. This is a brutal takedown of conventional financial wisdom. The book, published in 2011, has become a cult classic among entrepreneurs because it says what most financial advisors won't. The traditional path to wealth is broken. It takes too long, relies on too many variables you can't control, and often fails completely. In 2026, this message is more relevant than ever. We're watching artificial intelligence eliminate jobs, the gig economy replace stable careers, inflation destroy purchasing power, and traditional retirement planning fail an entire generation. The old rules don't work anymore, if they ever did. DeMarco introduces 3 distinct wealth roadmaps: the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. Most people are on the sidewalk or slow lane without even realizing it, wondering why they're working harder than ever but going nowhere financially. For entrepreneurs tired of hustle culture advice that leads nowhere, for professionals realizing their corporate ladder leads to a ceiling, not a penthouse, for anyone who's done the math and realized they can't save their way to wealth, this book provides the framework for a completely different approach. It's not about working harder, it's about switching lanes entirely, and the implications are massive. Let's start by understanding the 3 roadmaps, because if you don't know which road you're on, you can't change direction. The sidewalk is where most people begin, and many stay forever. Sidewalkers live paycheck to paycheck, spend everything they earn, and have no financial plan beyond hoping for a lottery win or wealthy relative. They're one emergency away from disaster. You see them everywhere. The person buying a new iPhone on credit despite having $47 in their bank account. The coworker leasing a luxury car they can't afford. The neighbor with impressive possessions and crushing debt. The sidewalk isn't about income, it's about mindset. High earners can be sidewalkers if they spend everything they make. The defining characteristic is that wealth is always just out of reach, always someday, always dependent on external events like a promotion, inheritance, or that perfect business idea they'll start next year. The sidewalk leads nowhere but more sidewalk. It's financial Groundhog Day. Then there's the slow lane. This is what financial advisors, parents, and school taught you. Get good grades, get a good job, save 10% of your income, max out your 401k, invest in index funds, live modestly, and in 40 years you'll retire comfortable. Maybe, if the market performs, if inflation doesn't destroy your purchasing power, if you don't get laid off, if you don't get sick, if. The slow lane is based on a flawed equation. Wealth equals job plus market investments over time. Your wealth is determined by your salary and investment returns, neither of which you truly control. You trade 5 days for 2 days off. You trade the best years of your life for financial security when you're old, assuming you make it there. Here's what they don't tell you. The slow lane is a gamble disguised as safety. A 2025 study showed that 60% of Americans approaching retirement don't have enough saved to maintain their lifestyle. They did everything right and still ended up broke. Why? Because the math doesn't work. If you save $500 monthly from age 25 to 65 at 8% return, you'll have around $1.4 million at retirement. Sounds good, until you realize that's 40 years of sacrifice. Your wealth is still dependent on market performance you can't control. Inflation will erode purchasing power, and you're betting your entire financial future on variables outside your control. The slow lane also has a fundamental flaw. It trades time, your most limited resource, for money. You can always make more money. You can never make more time. When you realize you've spent the best 40 years of your life in a cubicle and your retirement plans got destroyed by a market crash 2 years before you were supposed to retire, it's too late to switch lanes. MJ DeMarco calls this financial mediocrity disguised as financial prudence. A modern example from 2024 illustrates this perfectly. A corporate executive spent 32 years climbing the ladder at a Fortune 500 company. Great salary, maxed retirement accounts, did everything by the book. At 57, massive layoffs hit. She lost her job. Her retirement account took a 35% hit in a market downturn, and at an age where few companies hire, she faced financial disaster despite doing everything right. The slow lane promised security but delivered vulnerability. Meanwhile, a former colleague who left corporate 10 years earlier to build an online business retired at 47, wealthy and free. Same starting point, different roadmaps, completely different destinations. Now let's talk about the fast lane. And this is where everything changes. The fast lane isn't about getting rich quick. It's about getting rich fast by changing the equation entirely. Instead of wealth equals job plus market investments times time, the fast lane equation is wealth equals net profit plus asset value. Instead of trading time for money, you create systems that produce money independent of your time. Instead of hoping the market performs, you build assets you control. Instead of sacrificing your youth for security in old age, you compress the wealth creation timeline to years instead of decades. The fast lane is about creating enormous value for many people through a business that operates whether you're working or not. It's about building assets that appreciate and generate income. It's about controllable, unlimited leverage instead of uncontrollable, limited leverage.
Here's the critical distinction. Slow laners focus on their job and their investments. Fast laners focus on their business and their assets. Slow laners ask, "What's my salary?" Fast laners ask, "What's my business worth?" Slow laners want a good job. Fast laners want to create jobs. Slow laners focus on their time. Fast laners focus on their systems. A slow laner might work 40 years to accumulate $2 million in retirement accounts. A fast laner might build a business worth $10 million in 10 years, then sell it and be done. The math is completely different. But here's what most people miss. The fast lane isn't easier. It's harder, riskier, and requires more from you. The difference is it works faster, and you control more variables. You're not hoping for 8% market returns. You're building something that could return 100%, 500%, or 1,000% on your time and effort. You're not diversifying to limit risk. You're focusing intensely to maximize results.
The key to the fast lane is what DeMarco calls the commandment of need. Your business must solve a real problem for a lot of people. It must provide value at scale. This is where most aspiring entrepreneurs fail. They build what they want to build, not what the market needs. They focus on their passion instead of solving painful problems. They create products for nobody. The market doesn't care about your passion. It cares about solving its problems. A developer in 2025 spent 2 years building his dream app that nobody wanted. Meanwhile, his friend spent 3 months building a simple tool that solved a painful problem for freelancers. The dream app generated $0. The simple tool sold for $3.2 million 18 months later. The difference? One was passion-driven, one was need-driven. The market rewards solving needs, not pursuing passions. The commandment of entry is equally critical. If something is easy to enter, it's easy to exit. If anyone can do what you're doing, your business has no moat, no protection, no sustainable advantage. Becoming a rideshare driver, drop-shipping products everyone else drop-ships, selling on Amazon with no unique product, these are slow-lane activities disguised as business. True fast-lane businesses have barriers to entry that protect them from competition. These could be technical barriers, capital barriers, brand barriers, or relationship barriers. The harder it is for competitors to replicate what you've built, the more valuable your business becomes. A great example. Anyone can start a t-shirt company online in 10 minutes. That's why thousands do it, and most fail. But building a brand with loyal customers, unique designs, and strong market presence, that takes time and skill most people don't have. The barrier separates winners from wishful thinkers. The commandment of control means you must control your business. If someone else controls your platform, pricing, customers, or critical business functions, you're not running a fast-lane business, you're running a high-risk job. This is why building your entire business on Amazon, Instagram, or any platform you don't control is dangerous. When the platform changes rules, your business dies. This happened to thousands of people when various platforms changed algorithms or policies. Overnight, businesses disappeared. Control means owning your customer relationships, your distribution, your platform. It means being the casino, not the gambler in the casino. The commandment of scale is where explosive wealth comes from. Your business must be able to serve massive numbers of people without proportional increases in your time investment. Service businesses where you trade time for money can't scale. Selling hours will never make you wealthy because you have limited hours. But selling products, software, systems, or anything that can reach millions without consuming more of your time, that scales. That's how you create wealth quickly. A software developer in 2024 illustrates this perfectly. As a freelance consultant, he earned $150 per hour. Good income, but capped by hours available. He could never be wealthy because there are only so many billable hours. He built a SaaS product that solved a problem for online businesses. The first customer took months to acquire. The 100th took a week. The 1,000th took a day. Now thousands of customers pay monthly, generating millions annually, while the software runs mostly automated. He went from trading time for money to having his creation generate money while he sleeps. That's scale. That's the fast lane. The commandment of time is the final piece. Your business must eventually operate without you. If you must be present for the business to make money, you've created a job, not a business. The goal is to build systems, hire people, create processes that generate income whether you're working or not. This is how you buy back your time. This is how you escape trading time for money. Wealthy fastlaners own their time. They're not slaves to their businesses. Now let's address the mindset shifts required for the fast lane.
First, you must stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a producer. Consumers spend money on things. Producers create things that consumers buy. Every time you buy something, you're making someone else wealthy. When you're the person creating the product or service, you're building your own wealth. This shift alone changes everything about how you see the world. You stop asking, "What can I buy?" and start asking, "What can I build?" Second, you must embrace calculated risk. The slow lane promises false security. The sidewalk offers no security at all. The fast lane requires taking intelligent risks with potential for huge upside. Not reckless gambling, but calculated bets where downside is limited and upside is enormous. A corporate job feels safe until you get laid off. A business feels risky until it makes you millions. Risk is about control, not comfort. Third, you must focus on wealth, not income. A high income with high expenses isn't wealth, it's a hamster wheel. Wealth is freedom. It's assets that produce income whether you work or not. It's selling a business for life-changing money. It's creating passive income streams. The goal isn't making $1 million a year. The goal is having a net worth that gives you total freedom.
So, how do you actually enter the fast lane in 2026? First, audit your current roadmap. Are you on the sidewalk, living paycheck to paycheck with no plan? Move to the slow lane at minimum. Start saving and investing, but don't stop there. Are you in the slow lane, trading time for money and hoping investments eventually save you? It's time to plan your fast lane entry. You need a business idea that solves a real problem for many people, can scale, gives you control, and has barriers to entry. Start by identifying problems people will pay to solve. Look at your industry, your life, communities you're part of. What frustrates people repeatedly? What are they currently paying for that could be done better? What needs exist that nobody's serving well? Next, validate before you build. Don't spend years creating something nobody wants. Test with minimum viable products. Sell before you build. Get paying customers proving the need exists before you invest massive time and money. The old model was have idea, build product, then try to find customers. The new model is identify need, validate people will pay, then build for proven demand. Third, focus obsessively on providing massive value. The market rewards value creation. If your business saves customers time, solves painful problems, or provides something they desperately want, they'll pay. Your income is directly proportional to the value you provide and the number of people you provide it to. Don't ask, "How can I make money?" Ask, "How can I provide so much value that money follows naturally?" Fourth, build systems, not jobs. Automate everything possible. Document processes. Hire people. Create operations that don't require your constant presence. The goal is working on your business, not in your business. If you can't take a month off without everything falling apart, you haven't built a business, you've built a job. Finally, think long-term while acting short-term. The fast lane isn't get rich quick, but it is get rich fast relative to traditional paths. You might grind intensely for 3 to 7 years building a business, then sell it and be set for life. That's better than grinding for 40 years and hoping your 401k holds up. Here's what nobody tells you about the fast lane. It's lonely. Your friends won't understand why you're working weekends on your business instead of going out. Your family will question why you left a good job to chase a dream. Society will pressure you to be responsible, get back in line, follow the traditional path. The slow lane is socially accepted. The fast lane is socially questioned. But here's what matters. Would you rather have society's approval or financial freedom? Would you rather be comfortable or wealthy? Would you rather fit in or be free?
The fast lane requires sacrifices the slow lane doesn't. Late nights, financial uncertainty, failed attempts, stress, risk. The difference is the slow lane requires sacrificing your entire life, slowly, for a maybe. The fast lane requires sacrificing a few years, intensely, for a probability. One path spreads sacrifice over 40 years. One path concentrates it into a few intense years of building. The fast lane isn't for everyone. Some people prefer the predictability of the slow lane. Some aren't willing to take the risks or do the work. That's fine. But if you're reading this feeling trapped, if you've done the math and realized you can't save your way to wealth, if you're tired of making other people rich while hoping for scraps, the fast lane is waiting. It requires more than the slow lane, but it delivers more too. Not someday, soon. Will you take the exit ramp or stay in traffic with everyone else? The choice determines your financial future. Let's crystallize everything. There are 3 roads: the sidewalk, where you're broke and staying broke; the slow lane, where you trade 40 years for hoped-for retirement; and the fast lane, where you build wealth in years through creating enormous value. The sidewalk is financial suicide. The slow lane is financial mediocrity disguised as prudence. The fast lane is financial acceleration through business ownership and asset creation. To enter the fast lane, create a business that solves real needs for many people, can scale without proportional time investment, gives you control, and has barriers to entry. Focus on producing, not consuming. Take calculated risks, build assets and systems, not jobs. Provide massive value, and wealth follows. The difference between these roads isn't just money, it's time, it's freedom, it's living your life now instead of hoping to live it when you're old. The slow lane promises you can enjoy life after 40 years of sacrifice. The fast lane says enjoy life in your 30s, 40s, and beyond because you built freedom early. This isn't about getting rich to buy stuff. It's about getting free to live life on your terms. Money isn't the goal. Freedom is. Money is just the vehicle. The fast lane isn't easy. It's hard, really hard. Harder than showing up to a job for 40 years. But it's a different kind of hard. It's temporary, intense hard with potential for permanent freedom versus sustained, moderate hard with promise of eventual maybe. MJ DeMarco built his freedom. Thousands following these principles have built theirs. The system works. The question is, will you work the system? The exit ramp is right there. Take it or stay in traffic. That decision determines everything.